Okay, here's your first lesson for the human sciences. Yay! So, human sciences, just like that of the natural sciences, are based on observation. And so some of the examples of human sciences are listed below. Unfortunately, we don't offer all of these classes in the human sciences, I would have to say, though. I probably like sociology and anthropology more than others when I was in college. Yay! Don't worry about that. So, four key aspects to the scientific method that we're going to be discussing in human sciences are observation, measurement, experiments, and laws. And just as you would imagine, there are problems with each of these. So, with observation, we obviously, observation is the most important of all of the characteristics. And so what we need to consider with this is that we cannot observe people's minds. So we can't make assumptions about what people are thinking. Well, we can, but we need to be careful in those assumptions because we can only observe behavior. And so we make these educated guesses or hypotheses. And so there are three different ways that we can do this, and that's through questionnaires, opinion polls, and interviews. And each of these has both strengths and weaknesses. So psychology. Stop. Sorry. Tommy is trying to play with the banjo. School children, if they're randomly labeled as bright and not bright, and some of you may remember being separated and divvied out into the good readers and the poor readers, for example. But when school children are randomly labeled as bright and not bright, those who are labeled as bright tend to do well and they rise to the occasion, whereas those who are not bright may not excel so much. And there might not be any initial difference in the group, which is what's so interesting. They make greater academic progress. And I think with this suggests that teachers' expectations are often affected by how well the students do. And they help to produce the differences between the two. So if I expect my students to do more or understand more, they will in fact do just that. And so all of this information is acquired through observation. With economics, you might not really think of economics as a human science, but it is because it studies basically where we would put our money. A couple examples here with economics are both bull markets and bear markets. And so the expectations can affect share prices. So in a bull market, you expect prices to rise, therefore you buy the stocks because you want to make more money off of the rising stocks. And in a bear market, you expect the prices to fall, and so you sell. So therein lies this whole problem that you expect something to happen, and then basically you personally make it happen through either the buying or the selling of the stocks. Anthropology, another example that we might see, for example, let's see a sorcerer in an Aborigine tribe. Say he casts a death spell, and then what will happen is children may actually die because they believe in the spell, and so they would essentially lose the will to live. So, measurement. We need to think about things like, can we count thoughts? And we need to consider behaviorism. And so with measurement, sometimes it can be a little more difficult to acquire quantitative versus qualitative data. I know when I first started graduate school, I had a little difficulty understanding how quantitative data can even occur with people, but it can. And the last one with experiments, this is what we're going to talk about tonight anyway. Ideally, experiments should play a big role in human sciences, and it should be just as important in the human sciences as it is in the natural sciences. But human sciences are often trying to make sense of complex real world situations, and people are complex and more complex in a lot of ways from the artifacts that we deal with in the natural sciences. And so sometimes with experiments, there's this artificial nature that distorts the behavior of the participants. We'll talk about that in the next week or so. And we have to really consider ethics, even more so than with other areas of the natural sciences, because we are, in fact, dealing with people. And that's all I have to say. Good night.